Paul, we're coming towards the end of a week here at St George's Park. It's been a bit of a tough week, hopefully productive one.
Yeah, it's been tough, but it's been a good one. Obviously, you can see, the quality of the pitches that we've got here. The weather's been really, really kind to us, which always helps when you're on a pre-season trip. So listen, it's just a case of getting the lads back into shape, as pre-season's all about, and we've got a game tomorrow against Benfica.
That's it. Obviously, these tough double sessions in the gym, the sort of thing where the players probably thank you later when they start to reap the rewards, won't they?
Well, listen, I think if I look back at the last two pre-seasons that we've had at Reading, just the numbers that they've achieved, they've been very low. They've not been good enough. Obviously, it doesn't help when you've got people injured in pre-season, but if you don't get a full season into your players, they come back and you're not building a base, of foundation for them to do the hard work, to do the mornings, to do the afternoons. So it's been great. Obviously, I'd like to have more players here, but hopefully in time that will come. But as far as the week's been, it's been great. The lads, the day off on Wednesday, had a bit of golf, and it's funny when I first came in here, the new season and the new pre-season, I should say, it was like a bit quiet, and then all of a sudden Yids comes back, and then you can just sense that there's that kind of camaraderie and spirit building up again. So hopefully I can get 6 or 7 more players in to just go on top of that.
Yeah, look at what you touched on, really. It's great for you. You've got sustained opportunity to get your ideas across, but also they're in each other's back pockets, aren't they, for a week? And that's really good to build that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a part of pre-season. Listen, as is our deal, it's been good to get away. That's where you kind of build up the spirit and camaraderie. But considering where we are, the lads have been great. They're in each other's pockets, lunch, breakfast, dinner, and that what you're starting to see now. You're starting to see players even stay after dinner, so they're sitting around the tables, they're chatting, and getting to know each other. And I think sometimes that's something that's so important as a player, not just to know your mates that you always hang around with, but your other teammates. And I think that's important on these trips, that you get to know every individual that's in your team, and then you start building relationships, and then you start when you got on the pitch, then you're prepared to die for each other.
So obviously you mentioned as well, want to get more players signed at some point. We've got a few guys here been on trial or training with us and stuff, and they're hopefully raising the standard as well, because you could bring along some kids who aren't quite ready, but there's some good professionals in this football club that are helping to set the bar, aren't they?
Listen, and that's the most important thing. That's why I wanted to keep the core of my players. Obviously it's disappointing to lose Josh and Danny and Andy. They're big part of what I was trying to do last season. But the most important thing for me as a manager was to keep the core, which I've managed to do in Tom Holmes and Tom Mack and Lucas and Yids and Thomas, those type of Ovi, those type of Yak. So they know what my standards are, they know what my demands are, and the players that come in, they were fit into that culture, because we know that next year is going to be a tough season, or this season coming is going to be a tough one for us. So we need to make sure we're all together in it.
You mentioned the facility here too. Obviously, great pitches, really nice hotel. Aside from what we're doing, it must be quite nice for you as well to come and sort of see, the England base, have a lot of you and a lot of other sort of England legends are like immortalised around the place. That's quite a nice sort of little touch, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, it's nice. It's nice that you remembered for, not just for the clubs that you play, but for your country. Because as a player, it's the pinnacle of any player's dream to play for their country. So, I've been very fortunate the fact that I played 50 odd times. I've got my own picture on the other side, which is also nice, a lovely accolade to have. Yeah, and it is lovely. As I said, the staff have been great. I think it's been great. The food's been fantastic. And that's important, So listen, as I said, it's gone quick, to be fair. It really has, and we're looking forward to the game tomorrow. It's another training game. It's another trying to see if we can put our ideas and implement them on the pitch rather than just on the training ground. And we're looking forward to it.
You mentioned a couple of players too. You talk about culture. Andy Yiadom, you named him as your captain. He was quite an outstanding candidate, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. To be fair, there was 1 or 2 others that I looked at, but I just think, in the short time that I've been at the club, last season, just look at the way he plays. His leadership qualities, he's vocal. The lads respect him, so it's like one of them when he talks, they listen, which is important. I've been fortunate to captain our teams that I've played for, and you want people on side, you want people to listen to you. You have to know what you're talking about. That's the thing. It's okay motivating people, but you have to know if you're talking about football that you're saying the right things to motivate the right players. And some things you say different to a different person because he might have a different personality. They're all the kind of caveats that you have to have. You've got to understand which players you can get the best out of. But as far as an individual, I think he's been outstanding last year, and he relished the responsibility. It's important that he's my eyes and ears. When we're on the football pitch, and thoroughly deserves it. We all respect him as a staff. He's a great person to be with. And yeah, it's this choice that I felt was the right choice to make.
I guess him and all the senior players, if you like, it's really good when they kind of connect people, as you mentioned earlier. Connect the wider squad, if you like.
It is. As I said, it can't just be about one person. You know what I mean? I'll be trying again. This is going to be a tough year this year. We're looking forward to it. But it's important that spirit is so important. Togetherness is so important. We saw at Manchester United last year. That the spirit wasn't quite right, and that reflected in the results. And so I think when things are not going well for us as a club, we got to have a culture and a togetherness to make sure we get over those bad days. And look at what we've got now at this moment of time. And I'm pleased. Obviously, the season's 2.5 weeks away, so I need to get some more players in quickly.
One of them you have brought in, though, Tyrese, joined us today. That's a really nice addition for us.
It is. He's still young, he's 22. Forrest think a lot of him, so I thank Steve Cooper for letting us have the kid. He plays in midfield, which helps with myself being a midfielder and Alex Ray. So he'll learn a lot from us, hopefully. And listen, hopefully it's the start of many. He's got two great feet. He's got a nice size. And he's not here just to flip the jersey. He wants to get a spot in the team, and that's the most important thing. The players that are bringing we can only play 11 players. We can't play 12. I wish we could play more, but we can't. But the ones who ain't got to play have to come and fight. So I'm coming here to get into the team, and that gives competition, and nice competition. And looking at him and speaking to him, he looks like one of those players. Listen, I'm here to show what I can do, and it takes time because he's still only young. But I'm pleased to have someone like him on board.
That's it. I mean, as you said, that he kind of seems like a good character, quite humble, but really willing and hard-working as well. That's a good kind of cocktail, if you like, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's from East London, same as me, which is perfect. Obviously, you've got the Mill lot over there, Warner, Coops, and Alex Ray. They're all like the South London lot, but he's from East London, so I've got another one in the club. But yes, he's humble. He's a humble boy. He's very grounded. And I'm looking forward to see what he's got. Today we've seen little snippets of what he can be, and hopefully he will get some games this year. We know the Championship's so demanding, Saturday, Tuesday. So we're looking forward to see how he does this season.
And lastly, Paul, you mentioned already Benfica tomorrow. That's a really exciting friendly game to end the week with.
It is, and I think sometimes look at these games and you think maybe it's maybe a little bit too early to play a team of Benfica's quality. But it's still a training game, And it's funny though, because when you look at pre-season games and people look at the results, go, they got beat 7, they got beat 8. What's going to go? It doesn't work like that. Tomorrow we'll play Benfica. We'll be chopping and changing people. As you said, we've got trialists there that we need to give minutes on the pitch, and that's all it is to us. We're trying to implement the stuff we worked on this week at St George's, and just see how we go against Benfica. The results are irrelevant to me. It's what we've learnt this week. Can we then go onto pitch and do that? Because we can't think for the players. We can only put the ideas in their head, and if they can implement that without us having to tell them, then we'll have half a chance.
Yeah, and not just the learning they've done this week, but they'll probably actually learn a bit tomorrow too. When you come up against different cultures and different playing styles, people, and also a different level too, because these guys are, a serious team, aren't they? Benfica. I mean, it can only help, can't it?
Yeah, of course it can, and it's good to put yourself up against these guys. We know they like to kick the ball. European football, we know what it is, but we've got to put our input on our game the way we've done. We're not just going to sit back and let them play nicely football. At the same time, it's not one of those games where you want tackles flying about. But yeah, listen, we should be privileged to play a team like Benfica. We really, really should. Some of the great players who play for Benfica. It's an honour for us to play them. So we've got to go out and enjoy it and just treat it as a training game.